This week, we're going to talk about sexual identity, sexuality, sexism, and heterosexism. In other words, discrimination against people because of their sexual orientation and the choices they make in their lifestyles. Let's start off with the question, what is homosexuality? People who are sexually attracted to people of the same sex. That's it. It says nothing about behavior, it says nothing about appearance, and most importantly, it says nothing about gender roles. Because one is homosexual, it does not mean that they take on the gender roles of the opposite sex. Gay men are not necessarily feminine, and lesbians are not necessarily masculine. So if you happen to have those stereotypes in your head, now is a perfect time to drop them. Okay, that said, what is the history of gay and lesbian rights? Homosexual behavior is nothing new. There are reports of same sex sexual behavior since ancient Greece, Rome, etc., all the way up to the present and throughout all parts of the world. The only thing that has differed is how acceptable homosexuality has been in one society or another, or at one point in history or another. The fight for gay rights has existed in Europe since the 19th century, and U.S. organizations for gay rights have existed since the 1920s. So this is not a new phenomenon. But a big turn in the U.S. was the Stonewall riots of 1969. On June 28, 1969, the New York Police Department raided the Stonewall Inn, a Greenwich Village bar frequented by lesbians and gay men. About 2,000 people took to the streets and rioted for 2 nights in protest. Interestingly, the official reasoning for the riots included suspected prostitution. But prostitution may be happening at any bar at any one time or another, and authorities couldn't ever answer the question as to why they targeted this particular bar instead of any other bar in New York where prostitution may be suspected. The fight for gay rights was dealt a considerable blow in the 1980s when the AIDS epidemic was spreading more quickly among the gay community than elsewhere. We now know more about HIV and how it is transmitted, but at the time it was considered a gay disease, even known as the gay cancer and the gay plague, before it was officially identified. What are the causes of homosexuality? First off, no one knows for sure. Despite all the research surrounding genetic or social factors, no one has proven either biology or socialization to be the cause. The sociobiological perspective says that homosexuality and homosexual behavior is genetic, that it's biologically determined. The socialization perspective says that gays and lesbians learn their behavior from other gays and lesbians. Probably, again, as we've discussed before, it's a combination of both. If a person is homosexual, that's merely because they have sexual desires for someone of the same sex. But they probably also learn what it's like to be gay. They learn about the discrimination gays face. They hang out with, joke with other gays. This behavior is often known in the gay community as playing Nelly. In sum, when we talk about gender roles and homosexuality, the key thing to remember is behavior. If we assume, obviously, that sex is biologically determined and that homosexuality is biologically determined, fine. But any behavior that results from being male or female, gay, bisexual, or straight is socially defined. So perhaps you believe that due to some hormones, males are biologically more aggressive than females. That's fine. But what's more important to keep in mind is how males behave. To say one is biologically predisposed to be aggressive does not give men the right to rape women and commit murder, or even to get into a drunken brawl at a party. To say that women may be biologically predisposed to be passive does not mean that women must remain in the home barefoot and pregnant. Your sex is your sex, but how you act, your gender role, is what's at issue here. There's a place for both masculinity and femininity in every aspect of our society. Likewise, your sexual orientation is your sexual orientation, and the same should go for everyone else. How one chooses to act on his or her sexual orientation is socially defined. So that's what we'll be reading and talking about this week. Be sure to read through Chapter 7, and I'll see you online.